Hi, I'm Oshi, and today I'm going on a very special hike. I thought you might want to join me. I'm currently taking a course to become a hiking guide with certification provided by the Hungarian Hikers Association. We've had classes in geology, biology, and other similar topics, which means that now I'm starting to see my surroundings very differently. Today I'm combining 3 of my favorite short trail sections into a 15-kilometer hike, and we are going to see so much exciting stuff, especially cool rocks, because the Buddha Hills have a fascinating geological history. This relatively short trail also has 4 lookout points with beautiful panorama. So let me show you the basic outline. Besides all the usual stuff I pack, today I try these jelly beans, and I also have a thermos with me with hot tea because it's freezing, and I also bring this pocket book about trees and shrubs. While past Oshi is making their way up to Normafa, let me give you a quick rundown of the video structure. First, it's me versus trees, then me versus rocks, with a plot twist to the previous chapter, then me versus the creepy forest, me versus Látó-hegy, and then some additional fun facts and a quick summary. I also have to mention that my English gets a bit dodgy at places because I was so cold that I had a hard time concentrating on anything else besides keeping myself warm. Behold, panorama. But the main reason why I'm here is because at this point I'm supposed to be able to identify trees that frankly all look the same, and this area has 3 subspecies or species of oaks and a common hornbeam, so I'm actually pretty excited. Right away, the baseline is this beech that was planted in 1962 to replace the original Norma tree that was unfortunately destroyed by lightning in 1927. So off I went to gather dead leaves from under the snow. Well, this is not an oak. Just, look at the leaves. Absolutely no idea about this tree either. Look, it's a black poplar. No. This isn't going too well. I would even call it a blunder, actually. And I'm getting very cold, especially my hands. I've also lost a lot of time with all this dilly-dallying. So let's make it easy. I go straight to the Erzsébet Lookout Tower and rejoice when I recognize an oak. Any oak. To be fair, I started with a handicap, and I would have had an infinitely easier job in the spring or summer. Still, eventually I had some success. And minor correction, I noticed that Turkey oak is a more commonly used name for the Austrian oak, so sorry about that. These two trees are different. Hell yes! A silhouette I recognize. And this leaf is probably from an Austrian oak. It would make sense. And this is sessile oak, right? I might be mistaken, because why would all three be within like 20 centimeters from each other? But let's be generous and say that I've made some progress. As I was continuing my walk to the chairlift station, I spotted something French-shaped. Gravity is a lie, made up by big science to sell you, I don't know, shoes. So, second one I didn't recognize was actually a plane, a London plane. This one still drives me crazy though. By the way, Dolomite under snow is a death trap. If Dolomite has 1 million haters, I'm one of them. If Dolomite has 1,000 haters, I'm one of them. If Dolomite has one hater, it's me. And if Dolomite has no haters, it means I'm dead. Definitely an Austrian oak. Now, I only want to find a common hornbeam. Just one common hornbeam, please. This is called the phase rock. It's made up of dolomite, and what makes it really interesting is that certain portions of dolomite can have constituents like silicic acid that make those portions last longer. So as the rest of the rock is progressively eroding down, it creates these towers. And what makes it personally meaningful is that when in August I started to apply to corporate jobs, it was a huge cultural shock, and I was still grieving my academic career that died in its infancy. So one afternoon I came out here and asked the fate to rapture me, and the plan was that Changeling Orshi would do all the dirty work, then I come back and we switch places. But not now, please. The main reason why I got this watch was that it can display the elevation plot in real time. So as you can see, the climb back to János-hegy sucked, but I saw another friend and the acorn cup of a turkey oak. Promising. The paints are nice, but the packaging is not really hiker friendly. In the Triassic period, hundreds of millions of years ago, all that you would be able to see if it weren't for the fog were underwater. And that's why most of the Buda Hills are Dachstein limestone and dolomite. In fact, János-hegy is limestone on top of dolomite. Then somehow it ended up above sea level for a bunch of millions of years. But then again, in the Eocene, it was once again covered by water. And that's how the upper sandstone layer of Nagy-hegy on top of Dachstein limestone, somewhere deep in the fog, formed. So my next two quests are: 1, find a common hornbeam; 2, show you some cool rocks. I was slowly making my way down to Szépjuhászné with my eyes fixed on the ground, practicing what I had been trying to learn in the past 2.5 hours. Well, the hornbeam was a lie, but I'm getting more confident with the oaks. Look, I don't know what this is, but it's possible that the hornbeam's leaves shrivel up and die just like this. And just like my soul when I realized after a few Google searches that the tree I couldn't for the life of me find in a pocketbook was in fact the European or common hornbeam. This is one of those lessons that stay with you for life because you learn them the hard way. And I was wrong. It very clearly wasn't the common hornbeam. I guess the anemia got the best of me when I was working on the script. More about that later. But please, if you have any idea what the tree might be, I beg you to leave a comment because I've spent days researching it and I still have absolutely no clue. This is what I was talking about when I said that these trees all look the same. Also, later the instructor of the biology class dropped this absolute bombshell. And you can easily recognize the common hornbeam from its trunk because it looks like a candlestick with molten wax, which is amazing because the Hungarian word for hornbeam is gyertyán and the word for candle is gyertya. And yes, they are etymologically connected for apparently obvious reasons. I love this. I crossed this young pioneer nostalgia site that's most definitely haunted by the spectre of communism and arrived at the foot of Látó-hegy. Hungary has a pretty sophisticated trail marking system. I'll put a link in the description. And you should see my notes. Well, actually, yes. Anyway, I'm switching from red to yellow now. As for the sandstone, I'm supposed to be looking for specks of white quartz and black silica. No, it's something I read in this book, but I asked the instructor before the next class, and these are just optional. The real point is that sandstone is a clastic sedimentary rock, which means that it's rock fragments cemented together, in this case by silicic acid, and I will show you a close-up later. I played around in the dirt for some time until I finally hit the jackpot. Look, this is probably sandstone. I checked some references and yes, this is sandstone. Yay! It's coming home with me. So, this is sandstone, but this is limestone, right? Yes, and it's mind-boggling that the rocks you see on the right are from roughly between 200 and 250 million years ago, while the rocks on the left are from around 30 million years ago, which means that this piece of sandstone is closer to me in age than to this piece of limestone. How cool is that? You know what? I'm not gonna go up there because the weather is beautiful and moody and soothing as it is, and there's no point in forcing something that's not gonna happen today. That's something being panorama. And I'll also probably quit in Hűvös-völgy because I'm only halfway and my projected time of arrival is well over 2 p.m. I think at this point, and I have class at 5 p.m. And you should always listen to your body, and my body screams, just go home, study, go to class, go home and sleep. So it is what it is. I had 15 kilometers planned for two reasons to begin with. One being that I've been way too sedentary lately, and the second is that I wanted to show you how creepy the blue trail between Hűvös-völgy and Látó-hegy is. Especially in this weather, it's unbelievable. But maybe next time. It's interesting that I've come out here so many times in the past couple of months that I don't even have to pay attention to trail marks or anything really in general. Everything is completely automated, just like if I was walking in a regular street in the city. It's so cool. Look, fresh flowers and candles. But let's not talk about the Breakout Memorial hike. Also, there's only 5.5 kilometers left from the original plan, and it's only noon. So yes, I'm having this dilemma right now. You know what? I'm doing it just for you guys. There's still about half of the total elevation gain left. So I guess it's time to refuel with this winter salami smoked mozzarella sandwich. Entering spooky territory. As I said, I find this place creepy. At first I thought it was a lingering feeling from those occasions when I came out here before sunrise and got spooked out a few times. The first one was particularly memorable because it was my first hike in the dark. But now I think there's more to it than that. As you will see, this forest is so rich in history and so imbued with the presence of humans that I cannot help but feel watched. What's even worse is what I already mentioned in the comment vlog, that the Buddha Hills were a literal battlefield in the Second World War. So, firstly, you can still find traces of military activity. Secondly, I'm probably walking on human remains right now. So, in case you wanted to have a little break next to what's probably either a small bomb crater or an improvised artillery dugout, Billish Park Forest Private Limited has you covered. Soon the trail begins to wrap around Látó-hegy, with the Látó-hegy airfield on its left, and just to add to the general eeriness, this airfield has 2 memorials dedicated to pilots. Then, well, let's see a little case study. First we have this stone slab informing us that we are entering King Matthias's game park. Then we find more weird holes in the ground, and this random bunker that I noticed for the first time on this hike, which definitely didn't scare the hell out of me. And then, finally, we reach the grave of the unknown Hungarian soldier from February 1945. These ominous allusions to a very deep lore within only about 50 meters and the haunting atmosphere are reminiscent of the legendary Myst game franchise. And while I love it, it still kinda terrifies me. So we continue on our way through the forest in the bleak midwinter and occasionally encounter even more traces of human activity. I have only just realized that one reason why this place is so eerie is because I barely ever meet anybody on this trail, but granted, my timing is usually a bit weird. And leaving spooky territory. I forgot to mention we are on Dolomite again. The very last incline. I faintly remember something about pines and Dolomite. Yes, these seem to be European red pines, and while I don't know too much about them specifically, I know that Pinus nigra, or the European black pine, originally appeared in Hungary at the end of the 19th century as an experiment to improve soil quality on Dolomite, and then it was planted en masse in the 50s and 70s for its timber, and it has caused significant damage to native Dolomite grasslands. Considering that these pines are also foreign to the region, it's probably safe to assume that they aren't really good for the original ecosystem either. Anyway. Oh yes, the sounds of nature. Behold the picturesque city of Budapest. Less than 1.5 kilometers left and the bus leaves at 1:56. Shit, I knew it was gonna happen. This is the place where the blue trail kind of loops back into itself. and it's very easy to miss, especially because there's also a shortcut between the two sections. So yes, I'm on the blue trail, but I have no idea where. So this is where I arrived at the lookout point.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Now I have to keep to the right. Do you see any trail marks? Thanks a lot, just when I would need them the most. Oh, there they are. Thanks. Fuck. Thank God, Jesus Christ. You won't believe this. I took the wrong turn and I walked back. I don't want to climb back to Látó-hegy. At least I found a shortcut. I can't believe I spent about half an hour just going around in circles in a place that I know like the back of my hand. National Blue Trail, history, prestige, excellence. I have no idea why the MTS hasn't put out any signposts yet. Hűvös völgy is this way, fenyőgyöngye is that way, you bumbling idiot. Okay, I need to explain this. The fog and the clouds were so thick that the sunlight was diffused more or less evenly, and I completely lost my sense of direction. But the funniest part is that I had a compass with me. After this small inconvenience, I reached civilization at last. I have finally made it, and there is about 20 minutes until the next bus, so let me frame it this way. I'll have enough time to drink some tea and warm up, and eat a banana. Well, a bit more than expected for obvious reasons. Kurva élet. 1640 calories. That's how many cheeseburgers? These socks are way too big, and I paid a fortune for them as well. By the way, just for the record, it's 0 degrees Celsius. Home sweet home. It was awesome. I have no regrets. I hope that the footage reflects how much fun I had, all things considered. I still have some time for a quick shower, lunch or dinner, and to charge my phone. I'm pretty sure narrator has a lot to say, so wherever you are, take it away. Thanks. I do have a lot to say, but first, just because I mentioned the temperature, Carmen legit gave me a badge for completing an activity in sub-zero weather. That evening's topic was meteorology, and I learned some very relevant information. First off, as you could see, I was walking through thick fog. And as I learned in class, I happened to venture outside right after an anabatic cold front had moved over Budapest during the night. Anabatic cold fronts share a lot of characteristics with warm fronts, but just like in the case of katabatic cold fronts, they are supposed to bring clear weather and increased visibility according to the Norwegian cyclone model. But Hungary is surrounded by mountain ranges, which can interfere with the normal course of cyclones. And this was an excellent example. Something else that I was also able to observe was soft rime. It forms in foggy, slightly windy and very cold weather when super cold water droplets freeze rapidly onto surfaces, and because of the wind they take up this comb-like appearance with streaks parallel to the direction of the wind. I cannot even remember the last time I saw rime, so it was pretty cool. And these were the additional fun facts about meteorology. Since I recorded the vlog in mid-February, I had emergency surgery, so 2 more classes happened, the first of which I unfortunately had to miss because I looked like this and I was barely able to sit up for more than 10 minutes at a time. But when I was catching up, I learned the way I had been handling nutrition was mostly adequate, so that's nice. And interestingly, if I remember correctly, my overall pace with breaks and everything was the same as the average pace of a group hike. To sum up, I would say this hike was entirely different from what I'm used to. I usually zone out and just enjoy nature without thinking too much about it, which I think is a completely legitimate approach, but I had a terrific time messing around and observing my surroundings and learning a lot even after the hike. Now I'm on to new adventures because as a result of the surgery I'm not allowed to lift or carry heavy weights for a few more weeks, and even if I was, I couldn't because I'm anemic as heck. So I bought this 10-liter backpack, more or less as a consolation prize for facing my own mortality. And I would have never thought this would be the way I was going to look into ultralight hiking, but here we are. I have also found this gem in a secondhand bookstore while I was looking for the Fürkész guide series. It's color-coded and the drawings are beautiful, so I'm looking forward to using it very soon. I have absolutely no idea what my next video will be about, but sooner or later I'll be back. Until then, take care. Bye.